Hello and good evening. This is Inside News with Dale Matthews and Mike Jones. I'm Dale Matthews, and he's
Mike Jones. Hey, how's it
yay,
going?
terrific. So we're going to be looking at we're preparing ourselves and you for Levy 2016. Why? You already know why. And so because they never learn a lesson. And so what we're doing is we're looking at the all-out effort that they made in 2015, and where they said, well, it's completely different this time. Well, yeah, completely different. Right, right. And so we're going to look at what their answers were then and play them back and kind of laugh about them a little bit. And then we'll also do a little bit of talking about candidates this time who are likely to be supporting a levy no matter what it is. Yes, they like levies. So let's take a look. Let's let Scott Draper lead it off this time. Go ahead, Scott. Take it away, bud.
To see when we did this study, this study could have come up and said, no, don't even put this on the ballot, it's not going to fly. The study also could have come back and said, put it on the ballot, it's going to happen without, you don't even have to worry about it. It's going to be a blowaway. This came back and said, this is exactly what the people want. It will pass. The majority of the people want this, but there's a little bit of work to do. You need to get out and you need to talk to people, and we need to create some unity. We have strong values in our community, in our county. We saw that very clearly in this polling, very clearly. It's a matter of uniting those values. I think we all want to be safe. It's about finding the best way to do that, the most effective and efficient way to do that. And this measure is exactly that.
Well, Mike.
Okay.
It's just a matter of uniting those strong values.
Yeah, and our survey shows that this will pass. Well, then why do you have to do anything then?
Right.
If this is what the people want, listen. All you really have to do in any election is give the people what they want, and they will vote for it. The thing is that is more of a science than it is, you can't just take a survey, especially when you're asking questions that are very, very specific to ending up with the outcome to the question that you want to have to that question.
But they were gratified to find that the questions they were asking were overwhelmingly supported by a majority of the people, Mike.
Sure.
It was a bigger defeat than the 2 previous years.
Yeah, no question about it.
And this guy's website that he set up, they actually took the whole website down. Okay, I guess because they were so disgusted with the foolish people. But they did so much testing this time, Mike, that they spent over $25,000. Which could have been used by law enforcement to find out what the people really want. And they were surprised and gratified to find that the people wanted exactly what the levy pushers were asking for. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And, in addition, they also spent quite a lot of money on, I would imagine probably a lot more than 25,000 on the campaign after the survey. And that didn't work out very well for him because, people started figuring out what the facts were. And so I don't know. I think we ran a better campaign than they did. I don't know what they're going to come up with now. I just had this little exchange here in social media. And somebody that I was talking to in there said,
yes.
The majority of the people, what they wanted, said they wanted a sales tax.
What?
And then
sales tax?
Yeah, that they ran off into the woods. And I had to tell them, I go, well, 80% of the people who cared enough to vote ran off into the woods. So I don't know. Listen, I think despite the fact that it's made out to be a horrible disaster, what's going on in the county, it isn't that at all. The system is working. and it's working just perfectly. You ask the people a question, do you want a levy? They say no. Okay, that's that. And you're supposed to go with that.
Just keep asking them and keep asking them and keep asking them.
Well, yeah, I was getting around to that.
Since 2000, and they keep giving you the same answer. What do you think that means, Mike?
They still want the money. That's what it means. And they they still want the, listen, they're not interested in governing according to the will of the people.
No, obviously not.
Yes. I mean, if they were interested in governing according to the will of the people, they'd be cut back. I mean, really cut back to bare bones. Not like they say now.
Well, let me tell you about this Clearly thing, because I think it's fairly amusing. So I put up this video, the video that you just saw, and I called it Levy 2016 because I have a whole series of videos about this that we're going to post. A year ago, levy pushers were sure it will pass. The majority of the people want this. And then what I wrote about it is just a little explanation that we put on social media. I said the citizens said no in 1998, 2000, 2004, 2007, 2008, twice, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015. So what lessons have the new candidates for commissioner learned from all of this? Tony Webb suggests a levy. Cheryl Walker agrees with that, as does Keith Heck and Mark Kelsey. But there are candidates who think that the voters deserve a break. So here's the response we got. I name names. Mike doesn't like to as much. From Cave Junction, Illinois Valley. That's one of the social media sites. Benjamin Latva says, for a news reporting agency, you clearly only report what you want to. Okay. I will continue to vote for every levy, he says, in the name of helping children who are abused in Josephine County. You clearly hate abused children and offer no other solutions. You need a new job, Chippendale. You clearly hate abused children.
Well, yeah, but listen, this is the favorite tactic of that side, is to go, well, if you don't vote for this, then you're not for clean water. You're not for clean air. You don't like children. You don't like, I mean, anything that's good, you don't like it. Anything that's bad, you love that.
You clearly hate abused children. Remember when Cheryl Walker said that, was quoting me from just a minute before that. And she says, yeah, well, Dale Matthews says all firefighters are pedophiles. What? What? This is the best that you can do? You clearly hate abused children.
Yes, but you know what? Listen, demonize your opponent. It's a tactic that's been used forever, and that probably won't end anytime soon.
Now, another person that had a strong reaction to that was Tony Webb. Tony Webb's running. It's a little weird for me because I'm going to run. I am running for office, and I'm doing it because I don't want to just complain about things. I also want to try to offer some kind of solutions, or at least maybe somebody will listen to some of the solutions and say, I'm going to adopt that. Great. Elect them then. Okay. It makes it a little easier. Anyway, she says she wasn't happy with being included in that because I was quoting her from things that she said. And her reaction to that story was, because I said that's Tony Webb's solution, and other people agree with her, including Cheryl Walker and Keith Heck and etc. And she says, Dale, nowhere in your little video clip do I say I'm for a levy. Yes, unless you're sitting right next to Scott Draper and we didn't see you. That's true. Nowhere in that little video clip is she saying anything. In fact, I was on the core team that worked to defeat the levy that Draper's talking about. Okay, you have become the liar you've always accused the BCC of being. Sad little man you are. And I said, well, I don't know exactly what to say about that, except I'm quoting her. And she says, in my opinion, this is from December 25th, Christmas Day. She wrote, the city and county have plenty of money to finance public safety. I have no plan for a 99-cent levy, Dale. And you continue to be a bore, knowing full well. Since Pat Fahey was determined to put something on the May ballot, I met with him and suggested 99-cent levy if he would combine it with an aggressive plan of job creation. Fahey did not want to do that. Now, that's a little strange. Do you really think, Mike, that Pat Fahey, first of all, yes, she wasn't in this video. Good eye. Do you really think that Pat Fahey said to her, I don't want an aggressive plan of job creation. Get out?
Yeah, I don't really know. What I will say about that is can we get off the job creation thing? You guys, if you're going to be in government, you don't create jobs. Come on, people, get it. All you do is make it more, you make it easier for people. You don't hinder them. The stupid, and listen, really, I mean, you fresh a group of people who are running for this economic development in these companies that come in and you pay a lot of money to. It's a scam. Don't you get it?
Yeah.
Don't you get it? This economic development, when you come up, that's just a little smoke screen that you can throw up and say, look, I'm going to do something. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything.
And the other side of that is I said in the write-up for this, what lessons have the new candidates learned from all of this and the fact that it was turned down all those times. And I wrote, quote, Tony Webb suggests a levy. So on the 25th, Tony Webb wrote that she got together with Pat Fahey and suggested a 99-cent levy. Her word is suggested. So she says, well, I didn't suggest anything. I didn't, quote, suggest a levy. Now, wait a minute. So now I'm confused because I wrote that she suggested because she said I met with him and suggested it. Now she claims she didn't suggest it. Which answer are we supposed to believe? That's just weird.
Yeah. And that's listen, that's another thing. If you're suggesting a levy right now, I think you don't get it. I mean, clearly over the past 10 or 12 years, it's been proven people don't want that. People obviously don't think it's the emergency that it's being pitched to them as being. Okay. So, you know what, if we're wrong, then, the whole government locally here will shut down and all the people in government will lose their jobs. And that will have been the people's will as well.
Just
Do you not get that?
One more little thing about this. Tony was still talking about it today. Oh, okay, whatever. And she says, now listen, I suggested, she's back to suggesting things again, 99-cent levy only if they would combine it with an aggressive plan to create jobs. They weren't interested. Fahey practically threw me out of his office. Now, I think it'd be very interesting to talk with Pat Fahey and say to him, Pat, I don't agree with him about most things. Did you really almost throw Tony Webb out of your office because she suggested creating jobs? I am so opposed to creating jobs. I'm going to throw you practically out of my office.
Listen, who knows? Who knows what actually occurred there? I really care less about that than listen. Just stop with the economic development stuff.
Yeah,
government doesn't do it. Government does not do it. And I realize this is a tough spot to be in. As a commissioner, you have almost zero control over what happens in this county. I hate to tell you, you almost have zero control. You control what gets spent where. That is the extent of your control. You have nothing else. Well, and you have very, very little to spend on those things. So hang on just a second,
yeah,
Dale.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. So then, you can do what you can to try and get some more money in the county here, but you're not going to get it from the people. They clearly don't want it. So that leaves one avenue left, and that's the federal government, So, just get off the economic development thing. It is so boring. So
one of the things that we know that the commissioners were asked not to do is not to promote this levy, although they did anyway. They were asked by Cuffs and SOS to kind of to stand aside. and they actually made a little video, which we're not going to play now. We're going to play another one instead. A video talking about how it really isn't going to be involved. They're not going to be involved with the commissioners, really. And so, but the commissioners can use their time in the end. Basker, we get more time here every night than more people watching the show than watch the weekly business session at any time. But but they do have this time to stand up and say, you know, we support this, we support that. So one of the questions Mike and I have been asking, and we've been talking about, and I made this into a table form here, is what are the various candidates saying at this moment, the candidates as of this moment, what are they saying about a levy? Do they back a levy or not back a levy? And we made a little chart for you.
Well, however, and I have a little bit of a problem with this chart, because this is what you think that how these people are. Some of them have stated, others you are presuming by their past actions, not that they haven't said it. Like in this particular case,
the one in the middle.
Lily Morgan is on the line there. She has said that she's not for a levy this time, but you're presuming, and you may be right about it, that she would, just because she's a government insider in that particular case.
And she's also supported a levy every time in the past. A county levy.
I personally don't have a record of Lily Morgan's what she endorses and what she doesn't, but I'll take your word for it. Now, Mark Kelsey has made a couple of statements in local media about finding some way of, passing a levy. It's his ideas on that appear to be very, very similar to Cheryl Walker, in that he has, wants to break it up into a bunch of little ones or something.
Yeah, I've got his exact quote, but we don't have to read that right now. Yeah.
And Heck should really be up there on the line too, if you're asking me, because whereas we know in his heart of hearts he wants to do it, he has emphatically stated he will not
promote one.
He won't promote one. Now, that doesn't mean, as Dale has stated in the past, that he won't, actively support those who are going to take the ball and run with it.
He's actually said that. He said that at that meeting where we played back, that we ought to hand this over to the citizens group so that they can be there talking about how this was citizen initiated.
Yeah. So we know that, I mean, listen, in my personal opinion, you don't even want people that in their heart of hearts, think the levy's a good idea. I mean, that's how I think about it. But see, I think that there's a different thing going on here than some people do. Some people think, well, we have to solve this problem. I say, what problem?
What problem?
Now, Simon Hare says, well, after 2017, that's it. They're cutting us off. We're going off the cliff, and we're going to have to shut the jail down, and the town is going to burst into flames. And I personally don't subscribe to that. I think that's fear mongering, and I think that you very much would like to have people believe that, because then ultimately, they're going to be more amenable to voting for increased property tax. That's what I think.
Well, let's see what the second video of the little close-up I made of Scott Draper. Let's see what he said a year ago, almost to the day.
For the first time, we have listened to the people by conducting a comprehensive professional study, telling us exactly what the majority of people from all areas of our county want and what they're willing to pay for it. We have crafted a measure that is based on exactly what we learned through this study to be offered on the May 20th, 2015 ballot, based exactly on what the majority of people want. When people see the ballot, it resonates. I've had many people who have voted no on public safety levies in the past, who, when they see it, express this: finally, someone is listening.
This is really odd. He's sitting right next to the guy that runs SOS, and he's saying here, for the first time, this is what he said, we have listened to the people. For the first time, you've listened to the people?
Well, and if if that's the case, and towards the end there, he said, a lot of people said, "Oh, finally somebody's getting it." Well, how come the no vote was higher this time than last time? Then shouldn't, if what he just told us is true, shouldn't that have been closer to passing?
And I'd also like to know, in 2012, 2013, 2014. They weren't listening to the people. He just said, he's sitting right next to the guy that was talking back in those days. For the first time, we have listened to the people. Really? Why didn't you tell that for 3 years in a row? It would have been nice to know. And then the vote would have been 80% against you, because you would have said, now, want to make it clear, we're not listening to you.
Yes,
right. What kind of tactic is this? For the first time, we've listened to the people. And when people read this ballot thing, they say, hey, finally somebody's listening to us. No, I guess you still weren't listening to them. Listen to this. Stop doing it. No, they can't hear me. They can't hear me any more than the city council can hear us. Why, those stupid voters, why, we instructed them what to do, and they refuse to do what we tell them to do. Yeah, voters have this tendency to do that. So,
do you remember what was the numbering of the last levy that we had?
I've got that, but I don't have it right in front. I think it was 1766 was this last one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's funny. I noticed that in the queue of videos, you had at least the thumbnail had commercials from the previous time, not last year, but the year before. That are
well, since you mentioned it, why don't we go ahead and play that, and then we'll play more of that meeting. But this, we were watching this, but that really sounds familiar. And then it turned out it was from the levy before. How totally Mike, get with the program. It's totally different this time. Let's listen to that.
Yes.
Didn't we just vote on this? Why are we voting again? What is different this time?
That's a great question, JR. Now, Josephine County is the only agency in the whole county that provides criminal justice services. That would be jail, juvenile justice, DA, sheriff. Those are our criminal justice services, and the county's the only one that provides those. Now, since our federal timber dollars went away, and unfortunately we had to dismantle part of those services 2 years ago, we've only had 2 votes since then. One was in 2012 and one was in 2013. This one is, those 2 votes in 2012 and 2013 were county-generated initiatives. What we have here today is a citizen-generated initiative that is more affordable. It's what the citizens wanted, not what the county government said was appropriate. And it restores the most critical part of our criminal justice services that this entire community needs, whether you live in Josephine County, in the city of Grants Pass, or the city of Cave Junction. This restores the services we need.
Okay, let's play that again, except this time, let's pause it at certain places. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
You don't need to roll back, because I've already set it up for that.
Oh, well, that's something you should have told me before.
Sorry.
Hang on.
There's quite a bit left. See
this up. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is here's the guy telling us this isn't coming from government. It's coming from the people. and this guy's from government.
Yes, that's amazing.
The finance director.
Yes, the finance director for Grants Pass City. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Didn't we just vote on this? Why are we voting again? What is different this time?
Nothing.
What is really different this time, Mike? Really, are there differences this time? It's different this time. What's different this time, Mike?
Nothing.
We couldn't even tell this video from, and then this was from 2 levies ago.
Yeah, this is from,
we had made a mistake at the beginning. It's, oh, good. Well, we got one. Oh, wait a minute. This is from the previous levy.
Yeah, and they were trying to sell the same bill of goods. Oh, this has never been done before. This is totally new. It's totally different.
This time, it's a levy.
Oh. This time, it's what the people want.
Yes, it's not what the government wants. We're with the government, but it's not what we want.
The only poll that matters as to whether or not it's what the people want has been taken a couple of times since the new and improved stuff is had been coming our way, and yet the people still are voting against it.
I think you've got a problem with your polls.
Yes, something's wrong.
Brother, you're not listening to the people. He just said in the other one, well, for the first time, this is when they were supposedly listening to the people. This directly relates to what Scott Draper from Cuff said. He's sitting right next to the guy that's now talking. As well, this time we're listening to the people. Didn't this guy think he was listening to the people? He wasn't. Go ahead.
That's a great question, JR. Now, Josephine County is the only agency in the whole county that provides criminal justice services. That would be jail, juvenile justice, DA, sheriff. Those are criminal justice services, and the county is the only one that provides those.
Now, wait a minute. That's a little odd. First of all, that's a good question, JR. They wrote the question for him, and they say this in a couple of these. Hey, that's a really good question. It's a small thing, but it's disingenuous from the beginning. Well, of course it's a good question. You wrote it. He's reading from a script. Okay. The other is the county is the only agency in the county that provides. The county is the only one in the county? Well, isn't that written by someone in the Department of Redundancy Department? The county is the only one in the county that provides these services? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, listen.
That's
you know what?
Odd. They spent a lot of money on getting this nice production values. Well, they're really going to be convinced this time.
Oh, but listen, the commercials last year or earlier. Yeah, it is last year now because we're in 2016 now. The commercials last year were better than this. They were, the production value was even better, and I think they're going to do nothing but continue to improve on that.
But no, that's not helping. So they've got beautiful commercials with naked women. Yeah. It's not going to help them pass this thing. This is a dog from the beginning.
Yeah,
they're not listening to us. We're really listening to you. No, you're not. Stop producing commercials and put your money where it would do some good. What a waste of time. Waste of time. Yeah. Go ahead, play the next part.
Now, since our federal timber dollars went away, and unfortunately we had to dismantle part of those services 2 years ago, we've only had 2 votes since then.
Yeah, they went away?
No, they didn't go away, and they've only had 2 votes since then, Mike. Now, let's just forget about everything that's happened since 2000, since 1998. Let's forget about it, okay? Stop talking about it. Get with the program. Hey, the Courier says it's 3 times in 3 years or 1.5 times in 1.5 years. I mean, that's all that it is. Would you please stop talking about the fact that these guys are up against the winningest team of all time? We always win.
Oh.
Stop talking about that, please. Let's change history. We'll change history. I know. We'll spend a lot of money changing history. Go ahead, Mike.
One was in 2012 and one was in 2013. This one is, those 2 votes in 2012 and 2013 were county-generated initiatives. What we have here today is a citizen-generated initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here, let's get something straight. It doesn't matter who pushed this down in the commissioner's office. It doesn't matter, who is allegedly pushing it here in Jay Meredith. This is coming straight out of government. The city and the county, they're simpatico on this thing here. They all want more of your money. Hello. And they still want more of your money, and they're always going to want more of your money. And that's where this video came from. That's where these people come from. And it's going to be that way in this next time. Notice the principal parties. They're either going to be government people themselves, or they're going to be government insiders, friends of people in government. That is how it's going to be. And it'll be that way for the next 10 freaking levies coming down the line. It's just, it's dumb. It's dumb. You got anything else?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking what we need a ballot question, at least a question, with people out in the county saying, yes, I would like to see a moratorium. Now, you can't stop people from doing this. You can't stop these unions from doing it. You cannot stop these city and county employees from pretending like they're just regular citizens. Hello, Joe. Yeah, I'm just a regular citizen. You can't stop them from pretending that, okay? But you can at least give them the information and make sure that everybody hears what the results are. We would like a moratorium for 4 years. We need a break from these things. That was what that chart said. Who feels that we need a break from these constant levy pushes? Okay. And you've got a couple of people who say that, and that includes Mark Seligman. You can like or not like Mark, but that's what he says. And that includes this guy, Ron Smith, and me, and we're saying we need a break from this. We need a break. All the rest of the candidates up to this point are leaning in the direction strong, or already said, hey, you know, we need another levy. We need another levy. That's the solution to our problem. Mike, we need another levy, or 4 little levies. Let him say the rest of what he has to say here.
That is more affordable. It's what the citizens wanted, not what the county government said was appropriate. And it restores the most critical part of our criminal justice services that this entire community needs, whether you live in Josephine County, in the city of Grants Pass, or the city of Cave Junction. This restores the services we need.
Obviously, we decided we don't need or want those services. That's all.
Yeah.
We don't want to pay for them.
Or, yeah, we don't want to pay for them. And hey, why is that invalid as something to say? Listen, you know what? I'm a little bit worried, because when are these people going to start openly sabotaging local government services to create emergencies that they then will have to, to get people to react to that? When is that? Because that has to be the next step, because everything that they're not doing, that they're doing up to now, is not working.
Well,
so
we saw
at some point, when are they going to? Yeah, right.
Shipley did is she was going around to the retirement homes, and she was telling these vulnerable senior citizens who are dependent on that money and are, you know, honestly, some of them are a little shaky to begin with, literally and psychologically shaky. And she was telling, you know, if you don't vote for this levy, why, we may have to shut off the veterans services. And, you know, you never can tell what's going to happen to your check. Oh, no, you know, I need to stay here. I'm nervous. This was Lisa Shipley. You know, if you're an American, if you've got red, white, and blue blood at all, you ought to take Lisa Shipley, and figuratively now, not literally, and say, what the heck are you doing in this veteran service office? Well, I love veteran service. So do I. I think it's wonderful. My dad was a veteran, but, you know, I don't like that kind of tactic. She should have been fired on the day that she said that she was doing this. That's my opinion.
I agree. They at least should have called her out on it, but they you know, she spoke it proudly. And this is the thing, is that, again, inside local government culture, the different things, they find different things to be acceptable than other people out in the normal real world would. Lisa Shipley obviously thought it was very acceptable and that she was doing her part. She's carrying her ball for the team there and tell all these guys, and we're going to get some votes for our guys, even though what I told them was a lie and there's no threat to their services from the levy situation. And this one thing that really gets me, and I'm really getting sick of, and I'm going to start getting a little hairier about this when they start whipping it out, because they're gonna in the election, is talking down the community and talking up this, how horribly dangerous it is to this is going to be a bad choice for you guys, because we're going to tear you apart when it comes to this kind of thing, because you're lying, number one, and number two, that's despicable. That's despicable. Listen, you think that the crime wave is tearing the community down, not nearly as much as you are, by telling everybody falsely that the community's falling apart and that people are getting raped and killed left and right. Yes, that's right. It's a lawless community.
On KJO, that guy was saying it's just like ISIS coming over the border. It's just like ISIS. Yes. Hey, Joe, you should be ashamed of yourself. Carl Wilson, what are you doing?
That's hyperbole.
Okay, well, let's play a
Yeah.
little bit more hyperbole from the meeting, and we'll talk about it, and we'll stop it whenever we want to, Mike.
Okay, and which hyperbole from the meeting are we talking about?
That's
we're talking about
where we left off yesterday.
Well, I'm going to have to pull that out of the previous folder.
And while he's pulling that out
didn't.
places we don't talk about on the show, the reason that we're doing this is because they're already starting to ramp up for this emergency situation. Now suddenly the emergency has reappeared, and we all need to be on edge, and we all need to be, you've heard what we played with the city council, and now the mayor, they asked the mayor, the Courier asked the mayor, what are your New Year's resolutions? What do you think is, well, you know, now he's going to make a new rule, probably saying that you can't talk about county issues at a city meeting. Of course, he does it all the time. And what he says, as a county, we're really facing a dire circumstance, I'm paraphrasing, where we need to do something about this emergency right away. And if we don't do something about this emergency, as he told Cheryl Walker at that public meeting we played back for you, if you guys don't do this, nobody's going to do it. It's all up to you. And Cheryl picked up that bit, buddy, and was running for the border with it. Mike, are we ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Good.
we are.
Let's play it.
And hopefully, we're not being redundant here. I may be coming into this in ground we already covered. And if we are, then we can move it forward. And if not, we can move it back.
It's been mentioned here tonight. This isn't just a put some money in and then shake it around and everything's perfect. This is about a community coming together. There's some great community watch organizations. I've got to know some of the people on that. And, that's really a great answer. That's taking a lemon and turning it into lemonade, and it really is an inspiration for us as we move forward on a larger level. Doing this with a measure, all of us coming together in support. But we've got some leaders out there that are already part of the solution, and I know we've talked to quite a few of them, and they're
yes.
No, we've already come together. What's this? The community coming together. We already come together. In this case, it was 54%. We've already come together. We don't need your help in coming together. We have. And we're not the enemy. You are, because we're the majority.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, here's this. There's a mantra out there. And what it is that we have to do something. We have to do something. There's a crisis. There's a problem. We got to do this. Our funding has been horribly cut back. Although they still have money for, frivolously throwing away on water testing and software and things of this nature. So what we really need to do is get down to what is really going on, not what they say is going on, not based on the perception that they have successfully created that there's a problem out there that needs to be addressed. I think that all of the things in law enforcement that need funding probably could be funded if there was the will to fund them, and that including investigations and whatever it is that you have to do before you give the stuff to the DA.
And we're not making this up. I mean, the $600,000 that they wasted, that they were willing to spend on one piece of software, we didn't make that up. They came up with that. And it didn't work, okay? And the fact that it was, the whole thing was a disaster is, well, it's not besides the point, but it's besides the point of what I'm saying here. They had that money, but they got that money during an emergency of no funding for law enforcement. Now, which do you think is more important? And aren't they using the same software they were before? And it was going to be from the same company anyway, and they were adopting something that we were new adopters to it. And other counties were using the thing that they wanted to abandon. This is not an emergency mentality.
Yeah.
So this thing of, we can put out $600,000 over a 5-year period for water testing. We're not making this up. They came up with, where'd you get that money? Well, that's in the budget. How the heck is that in the budget? Now, what's going to happen on Tuesday is they're going to have a meeting where they're going to pick the new people, supposedly, because they don't tell us very much, they should, that are going to be on the budget committee. Well, you know, 5 out of 6 of the people in the budget committee are strong levy supporters. One of those guys was at that church where they were saying, you know, you're Satan worshipers. We are, really? And so this is where it starts. It starts with the basic attitude that they have. We don't have here, as Strother Martin said in Cool Hand Luke, we don't have a failure to communicate. What we have is a failed system where they're wrong from the get-go. They are the imperial court, and we have to answer to them. It should really be the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, I mean, the way I see it, it's, they continue to want more and more money all the time. And this is the nature of government. They're going to want to do that, but they keep putting up this emergency situation when it's not really an emergency. And the thing that bothers me about that is that ultimately at some point down the road, a real emergency may arrive. And these people are going to be completely ill-equipped to deal with that because they've been dealing in a false emergency world for years. And you know, they're probably going to be completely unprepared.
Now get this completely clear, please. Our viewers, neither Mike nor I are saying that there's absolutely no problem and everything's great. Neither of us is saying that we know for sure that there's always going to be unlimited funding from the federal government. Oh, please. Okay. We're not saying that. What we're saying is our county residents have done that balance that we're always talking about, and they have a pretty clear image of what it was that they do want to spend and what they don't want to spend. This is driving our county and Grants Pass city government wild because we've decided, and nothing that they say is convincing us that they've got the keys to the kingdom. They just don't. They're wrong from the get-go. That cannot change until we change the kind of people who are running the whole system.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's hear more of the blather from 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm. Excited about working with a new sheriff, and they're excited about many of them supported Dave and are very excited about moving forward in a relationship and getting this passed and seeing the presence of the sheriff's office in their areas.
That sounds like a solid yes. There is a connection between public safety and economic development. Okay, so next one is for Jim.
Well, you know what? That's really good to know because that means that then they can take the economic development money that's coming in, and instead of wasting it on stupid programs, they could just give it to the sheriff because, you know, it's about economic development.
Now you watch very carefully. We talked a little bit about some of the commissioner candidates that are coming up here. You watch and see which ones say, you can't use it for that. Why, the state will come down here and take away everything. We've done it in the past.
That'll be their fault for not paying attention because clearly the other day, right before they were, you know, talking about using economic development money to have their little PR campaign to tell everybody how great the commissioners were. They talked about this situation with economic development money and how the rest of these counties are using it for whatever they want to, including law enforcement, which they even mentioned in there. So listen, this whole thing is silly. And you know what, if you're a candidate and you weren't paying attention when that happened and somebody hits you with that question and you're like a deer in the headlights, oh well for you.
Yeah, it's going to happen because one of the things they have to say, one of the things that the current commissioners and the commissioner light candidates, one of the things they have to say is that everybody else's ideas are ridiculous and stupid and illegal and illogical, and they won't work because they're actual solutions. You never offer solutions. We always offer solutions. We're constantly offering. But I never hear any. Well, neither did the city council, the Grants Pass City Council. They didn't hear any solutions either. Why, people are coming up here and they have no solutions. They can't hear these solutions. That's because they're they can't hear any solutions at all. So we're going to offer some solutions, constantly offering solutions and ideas. Hey, don't vote for me. Don't vote, vote for some of the ideas. Okay. pick up some of those ideas and run with it. Mike, you were just saying to me, I think earlier today, people could take some of those ideas and put them in their own platform. Great, super. Then it's a complete success. That's wonderful. Let's do that. But there's got to be people who say, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. The only thing that's left is a 99-cent levy. Or you're not going to be able to do this. All that's left is 4 little levies. That's all that's left.
And listen, you know what? It's a very common thing, and you're going to hear a lot of it in the campaign, that you can't do this thing. You can't deal with the federal government. It's like David and Goliath. You know what? All that really indicates is you don't want to work hard, because it's going to take some hard work, and you're going to have to actually do something. You're going to have to actually stand up to some people. You're going to have to take a firm line that's not going to be popular with your government insider friends. It isn't going to be popular.
You can count out all. Simon Hare, he's definitely not going to do that because he's got state aspirations. This place is too small for Simon. He needs to travel all over the state, shaking hands with people. That's who he is. He's not going
to be here anyway. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because this form right here, this is the electronic signature sheet, and it has the name and address of the chief petitioner for the Simon Hare recall on it. And so what I did was in Open Office, because I'm a cheap guy and that's what I use, I printed that on an envelope and I put a stamp on there. That means I'm committed. 50 cents, baby. And I'm going to put this in here along with my wife's, and I'm going to send it in, and everybody watching this should do that too. Really, you should. And with your permission, Dale, I will put a link to this document, which you can then open and print and then fill out. It only requires your signature, the date you signed it, print your name, and put your address. That's what's required.
Permission. Are you kidding? Yes, absolutely.
But and I'll put a link to that document in the description of this video.
It's very important for you to realize whether you want to recall Simon Hare or you don't. What our show will do, or you don't, it's okay. It's your choice. What our show will do is it'll give you the opportunity to do it for yourself. And so you don't have to wait or match up with the exact right time with the exact right person to do a lot of things these days. You can watch this show anytime that you want, or rewatch it, or tell other friends about it. So we're going to give you the tools. That's the difference. We're giving you the tools of how you want to do things. So Mike's going to make it possible for you. If for some reason you can't find this, you can't find it on social media, the link at the end of our show is not working, some other kind of thing, we're going to go back to Mike, and he's going to put up an email address of how you can email us, and we will send you the link. Here, go ahead, Mike, and put that up so people can see that.
It's up right now. And
what does that say?
It says badcounty@cpros.com. And so if you send us an email and just ask for the instructions on dealing with Simon Hare's recall, the electronic petition forms, I'll even write out a little thing exactly what to do, and it's not hard, and we'll send that right to you.
If you feel that Simon Hare should not be recalled, that he should be the new chair of the Board of County Commissioners, send us an email saying, and here are my reasons why, because you guys stink. Okay. All right. So fine. And that way, then you've indicated your, so what's going to happen, what's going to come up on this coming Wednesday is the Board of County Commissioners are going to get together in the Ann Basker Auditorium, and they're going to choose who's going to be the new chair for a whole year of the Board of County Commissioners, the last chair before we toss out a couple of commissioners. And that is, it's a real question about what's going to happen, because they already decided, they decide these things ahead of time. We told you already that when they get together in the Ann Basker, it's like ceremonial votes. So they already decided that Simon would be the new chair, and that Cheryl will be the vice chair, and Keith is going to be the nothing. This is the way he prefers it. That's what he said. Just a commissioner. Well, now there's a question. Is Cheryl going to nominate herself, even though they come to this decision, given Simon's proclivity for ending up in jail? or should be, or is Keith Eck going to nominate her? And if they don't look surprised while they're saying this, does that mean that they've discussed this in a court?
Of course. Yes, of course.
Which is against the law and why they got in trouble.
Well, and what they could say is, I dropped by Wally Hicks' office and I told him, listen, I'd like you to have a conversation with Simon about this. And here's what I'm planning to do. And we'll send Keith over here. And then Keith can tell you what he thinks about that. And then you can talk to Simon.
But that's against the law. That's also against the law. Well, should it be? Yes, because they're making decisions just because they're finding. What are you always trying to find a way around the law for? No, stop trying to find some way around, or just blatantly breaking it, or saying, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. Don't say that. Don't think that.
What Dale wants is he wants the real drama to play out in the Ann Basker, not some rehearsed thing behind closed doors. Give us the real drama. We've had that before. It does.
Oh, we've had that before. Do you remember the big fight between Cheryl and
lasted
Simon
like
Hare?
45 minutes? It was god awful. I mean,
and it wasn't in the Courier. Not a peep of it. Jim Moore strikes
bizarre.
again. Not a peep of that. And it was big. And at one point, Vivian Kirkpatrick says, "Well, I think that we've had enough of this." And Cheryl, "Well, no, it's none of your business. You had to be quiet." And people in the audience said, "What's the matter with you guys? No, shut up. Stop this." Yeah. Well, so speaking of stopping this, Mike, what do you say? Let's stop this show.
Okay.
And then we'll I have an idea. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll do another show. 365 of them, maybe.
Yeah, probably not.
We'll see. Bye-bye.